Hey guys, my name is Oshun the Great, and welcome to my beautiful channel and my still empty apartment that I'm working on. But today I kind of want to touch on why you could be feeling stuck. If you click this video, chances are this appealed to you in a way, like maybe you're going through a similar predicament that I am. And basically, I have times in my journey where, okay, everything's going good, I start making moves, I'm making changes to suit my life and the lifestyle that I want. And then all of a sudden, you come to like this dead end, or like you stop creating your life the way you feel like you should be moving forward. It's a lot like writer's block to me, when you're trying to create your life and your reality and be this alchemist that you know you are. But sometimes we all just come to this feeling of being stuck, and ultimately it's an illusion. So here with me today, I have a list of why you could be feeling stuck and how we can kind of go about getting out of feeling stuck. Sorry, I've been sick a little. How we can kind of get out of feeling stuck, and hopefully this can help me as well. I do these videos to kind of help myself, but in the process I'm like, maybe someone else can benefit from this as well. So number one is you have an idea of what your life is supposed to be like. So this can create the feeling of being stuck, because if we're constantly comparing ourselves to this perfect image or this ideal of what we're supposed to be or what we're supposed to have at this age or this time in our life, that can be very limiting. It doesn't give us much leg room to move, and thus create a masterpiece, because like it's like giving an artist a paintbrush and saying, oh, you can only paint this tree like this way and this color. But when you have the freedom to play around with many colors and to create whatever you want, or go out into the world and do whatever you want, then there's more possibilities for you. There's more opportunities that you can see. So drop the notion that your life is supposed to be a certain way, because part of adulting is, a lot of times, many people say this too, it's like people only act like they know what they're doing in adult lives. Our life is literally what we create it to be. But again, we have these societal norms sometimes that make us feel like, you know, our life is supposed to be this one way, when really we have the freedom to create anything we please. And that's the reason why humans are given free will. I don't think we exercise the power of choice or free will enough. More so because we have obligations to other people, and we'll get into that soon too. And these ideals on ourselves. Number two, you design your life, choose what to create. So this goes hand in hand. It's like, basically understand that, like, you have the power. You're never powerless. The problem is, it's like when we keep other people in mind, or society in mind, or fear of judgment and things like that, we don't create, because we're like, oh, what if I mess up, or what if what I create is not acceptable to society. Sometimes we end up not creating at all because of that. Like, many people feel limited or stagnant in their everyday life, in their wardrobe, just because, oh, what other people might think, or, oh, is this socially acceptable, oh, it's out of my comfort zone. And much like anything, trying to go back to school or trying to try a new line of work, you might be limiting yourself because you feel like you have to do things a certain way. Again, to each his own. Whatever resonates with you may not resonate with the next person, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Again, I always bring up the example of stripping. I'm all for things like that, but the next person may not be. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. But again, certain things hold stigmas more so than others in society, but there is no right and wrong, essentially. Number three, fear of failure. Messing up so you don't even try. So basically, like, a lot of times we feel stuck because, like, we have all these ideas in our mind, and we know exactly what we want to do and what we want to try and what we want to make or what we want to create or go for, but we just simply don't do it because we're afraid. It could be because it's something new, something that will drastically change your life forever, and you kind of feel that intuitively. And it doesn't, like, it's just, fear of failure can hold a lot of people back from just trying, from taking risk in general. One of the biggest risks I ever took was leaving Florida to go to Hawaii to work on a cruise ship. Never even been, that's the farthest I've been away from home. ever, but it was a great experience as I got to travel. After that, another risk I took was wandering around on my savings until it ran out, and it ended up working out. But if I had fear of failure, instead of going after that burning desire, then I would have never got that experience. I would have never met my boyfriend that I live with now, and so forth. So it's like you have to weigh your options as far as like, okay, is this risk going to be greater than my life is now? So let's use school for example. If you're in a situation now where it's like you feel very limited by the job offers you have or the experience you have, okay, something has to budge. So school may not be like your top 100, like your top ideal thing, but if you compare and contrast the things, like, okay, this might get me to where I want to be or where I desire to be, and you really have to just weigh your options in that way. So a lot of people, for example, don't go to school, even though it's not the end all be all, because of fear of failure. But something that you can do with this part, this third thing, fear of failure, is make a list of all the ideas you have in your head that you've been kind of like procrastinating on, or you haven't been making moves on because of fear, and then just start doing them. Just start checking them off your list. And it sounds crazy, but you know you're like fucking up if those things have been sitting on your list for a long time. Just start doing it. So something like, even when I was preparing to go on my cruise ship job in Hawaii, it was a long drawn out process, and I was scared, like, what if I don't even get this job? But I continued with the steps anyway. I kept checking off the list no matter how hard. Like sometimes I had to just redo tests or redo certain things, but it depends on how bad you want it. So it's all in your mind, your power of the mind, and your willpower. Number 4, a lot of us feel stuck because of naysayers and fear of judgment or losing someone. So naysayers are a big deal. Again, if you fear judgment from society or just people around you, a lot of times we won't do what we want. So this is like one of the beautiful parts about being single, is because the freedom of doing whatever the fuck you want. But unfortunately, not all of us have this option, as we have families, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers. So we tend to let them get to us too, and we tend to change and mold to conform to either their needs or this idea of social norms. And we tend to like not try new things because of like losing someone, the idea of losing someone, or maybe you're doing something wrong. Again, we have this bad boy, bad girl dynamic. If we don't do something that's socially acceptable, then, oh, it's on us. It's something that's really sinful or bad, which is not the end of the world, but we tend to just stay in this limited box anyway. Fear of judgment or losing someone. Again, so a lot of times we don't do what we want because like family and everyone else, even though a lot of people don't like to admit it. It's not to say, this is a misconception too, doing what you want means you're being selfish or hurting your family. You are responsible for your own happiness. It's one thing to be, for example, in a relationship and you're trying to do single things still. That's kind of, that's understandable. So you don't want to hurt anybody in that manner. But if someone got with you, for example, and they knew who you are as a person, and then you shouldn't really have to change that. Like you I feel like people have this misconception that taking care of yourself is not loving the other person, but the more you love yourself, the more you can love the other person. So at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You die alone, and like this is your one and only life, so you have to make sure you're happy. Like, just know that. Number 5, a lot of reasons why we can feel stuck is not trusting ourselves in our own voice. So again, a lot of times we know what we want and we know what we want to do in life, but we don't go after our burning desires because again, we maybe we don't trust ourselves enough, or maybe we feel like, again, it goes to fear of failure. Number 6 is just be free. Change as much as you want. You are not stuck. So our life is literally our masterpiece, and we can change it as many times as we want, as much as we want. Some people quit so many jobs just to keep trying different things, and that is okay. a lot of times we have this one-track mind, like we're supposed to pick one career or one study or one whatever, one route or one path in life, and that we're supposed to just stick to it till the day we die. This is a whole new age. We have so many options. There's so many different life paths that we can take, and it's our responsibility to allow ourselves to explore all these different options until we find one that suits us. And it's okay to admit if a certain situation isn't serving you anymore, if a certain person isn't serving you anymore, if life isn't just exactly how you want it to be. That means there's just more work to be done until you can get to the point where you need to be. So make the necessary steps, and you know what they are today. As I say this, you know the next step you're supposed to take. So ask yourself, make the list of what you've been slacking on because of fear of failure, and then make a list of like, yeah, so just start there. But yeah, so with that being said, be dope, be you unapologetically.